wonderful Sunday?
Not bad, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm just about awake. I accidentally stayed up until 2 a.m. chatting away with a few people and absolutely don't regret it right now, obviously. But, you know, it's how it goes. We're all nerds and we end up, like, I'm a nerd as well. We end up speaking to essentially our heroes. So, yeah, we're all, let's be honest, we're all a little bit of losers here, aren't we? We're all here to just... I love the fact that Thing 1 and Thing 2 just aggressively shook their heads in what can only be described as the wobbliest wigs I've ever seen. They are amazing. Hello, Cat in the Hat. Obviously, we've seen Cat in the Hat as well. There's all the sights and sounds that you see at Comic-Con, isn't it? So, let's talk about the characters, and then we'll talk about the people stood behind them. Oh, hello, Vader. Love you over there. Yeah. Dart's already talking Order 66. So, Melchi, and of course, the wonderful Harry Potter from the Goyle himself. Both, I mean, kind of the duality of characters, really, because obviously we've got a very set character in the Harry Potter books. I mean, were you a fan of the books to begin with? Had you read them before you went in, or did you go in just being like, let's just go?
No, I think a year or two before I got the audition, my best ever friend, was an avid reader, and he said, you need to read these books, it's Harry Potter. I said, what's it about? He said, about witches, wizards, spells, and I looked at him funny, and I was like, bro, that doesn't sound cool to me. Like, I thought I was like, you know, I thought I was a cool dude. It's like, magic is not really cool. So I didn't think any more of it, and then when I got the audition, I told him, he went crazy. And it was at that point, I did the first audition for Dudley, blind, and then when I got the recall for Dudley, that's when I thought, I better read at least the first one. So, knowing I had the recall, I quickly read the first one, and then I finished that real quick, and I think I read the first 3 in the space of a week, just over a week. I couldn't put them down. So yeah, that's how I got to read the books. And
so did you go into the audition with like a character in mind of how to play it, or was it then a conversation? Was it then, oh no, we want this, we want that, or did it just kind of you slide straight into it and you were?
I can't remember exactly. I definitely haven't read the books, but what I might. I've got this vague memory that I think I may have asked my friend, can I borrow the book just to read Dudley's bits? And then obviously I had the script, but then I got the recall and I was like, no, I should really read the whole book and be familiar with the text.
And did the character evolve as the films went on? Like, kind of as you grew, did you grow into the character with it? Or was it just kind of, oh, well, I guess it's just me now, nice and simple, like, you were growing, because you were actually growing as the character grew, so it really was just you at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the book is the book and the script is the script, and it's up to them what they include from the books into the script. Like, Crabbe and Goyle had a lot more to do in the books, so, yeah, I spent the first movie just feeling like a glorified extra. And then obviously when Chamber of Secrets came along and I got the Polyjuice Potion sequence, that's when I was like, okay, yeah, now I feel like a real actor.
Yeah, that gave you something to really kind of bite into at least.
Yeah.
And Duncan's quite, it's almost kind of the opposite. Obviously we're in Rogue One, Melchi is there, but not a massive thing, there's no real backstory to the character. It kind of shows the wonder of Star Wars, that they can take that character and kind of expand it into what they have done in Andor, into something that started out quite simple and you are there, but it's very much this, and then suddenly you've got the whole backstory and that character then grows. Was there anything in your mind when you were first doing Rogue One that was like, this character could be more? Or was it when you got the call that you were like, oh, we've decided to take more, and I suppose you have to take that as a compliment, really, that they've seen you doing that in Rogue One and want more of you in the series?
I think you have to put that down to Tony Gilroy, Dan, and the writers. I was just super happy, I think, to have a part in Rogue One at all. It was a lot of fun to film it, and then when Tony called me up to say that Melchi was going to be in the sequences in Andor, and of course both seasons because he's in the movie, to listen to Tony's ideas of the character was, for me, Tony's a genius, and the way in which the thought came to include Melchi, and then the character, I guess, sort of comes through how they imagine it, where they meet, where they find themselves to be in the prison, and I don't know. I think the character when they tell you about the character, and then when you find yourself with the lines in front of you and the costumes. We were talking about this yesterday, that once you got the costume on you and you're in the environment. The prison was a big thing for Melchi, for me, because that shaped everything that came afterwards.
We've got Darth Vader helping us out. Thank you, Vader. Love you all. Hi over there. See, this is Comic-Con. Suddenly you've got Darth Vader threatening you. This is a real mixture of everything. To be fair, I mean, we know how your story ends in Rogue One. This is never a good sign.
I can't understand what he's saying.
He's just being cheeky.
I'm sure.
Just always assume that Vader is being cheeky. I mean, has it been interesting to go from, obviously, the Rogue One, the ending that we all know is happening with the ending, the big, I don't want to say too many spoilers, but the big ending, to then go into the series, and now it's like, well, I know I'm making it through this. Whenever you get the script, you're like, oh, this doesn't look good. You're like, well, I am making it out one way or another.
Yes, well, of course, it was one of those things where, I knew after the first season that he's going to be in the second season because he's in the movie, and you've got to kind of join it up a little bit. So that was nice to know. And I think as well, I read something my mum sent me. My mum's more into what's happening online than I am, but she sent this little thing that someone had written, and they'd written something like, how dare Andor make me care about a man who died that I didn't even know who he was in Rogue One, So the sequence, I think if you watch Rogue One straight afterwards, you get to kind of like, because who's this guy? But Andor builds him.
I think it's quite powerful, the storytelling for that as well, when you know the inevitable is coming, and then it becomes even more painful as you learn more and more about that person. Because, like you said, Rogue One kind of, it's happened, it is what it is, you were there, but not that massive thing. And with Andor, the bigger you become that thing, the bigger there is that shadow of kind of heartache, I suppose, over you, because everyone knows how it's going to end eventually.
Maybe for you, but no, not for me. I mean, I'm just sort of doing the job of what we get given. So you're in that moment. I think, and I'm no actor to talk about how I prepare for things. But if you're really that guy, you don't know what's going to happen. So you're just that guy.
Yeah. Maybe it's just the nerd side of me getting a little too involved. So, speaking of that, we shall speak to the men behind the characters. A little bit of a review. Josh, MMA. You're MMA.
Yeah. I dipped my toe in the water, yeah.
How did that come about? Where was that love come from, or was it just kind of...
It's kind of a long story. I'll try and keep it brief. My dad was like a pro boxer, so and two of my older brothers both boxed, so like fighting is in the family, so my dad was often in local newspapers and stuff, so I grew up seeing these newspaper articles and thinking, wow, there's my dad, arms raised and stuff. So as a kid, I kind of always looked at that and thinking, I'm going to do that one day, I want to do that one, as you do with your dad. And then I lost interest, got Harry Potter, loads of money, and lost interest until something happened in my life where I was like, okay, now I need to channel my energy into something other than sort of acting. Nothing was really going on in the acting. So then I thought, yeah. Well, I'd started doing martial arts, and I set myself a goal. I started doing traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu. I set myself a goal. I said, when I get my black belt, I'll have an MMA fight, because I was doing martial arts, I was watching MMA, and I thought, hey, that's even better. That's like one up from my dad. My dad only boxed, so I'll have a cage fight. That's like even better. But it was really only to tick a box. I just wanted to know what it felt like and stuff. It wasn't like a career change.
I was going to say, and then of course the media picks up on it.
Yeah.
You know, Harry Potter style fights.
I think it says on my Wikipedia now that I'm a professional MMA fighter. No, I wouldn't fight pro. I wouldn't punch in the nose for a living.
I mean, it's one of those things that shows kind of how media can just change anything.
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, for you it was dipping your toe and having a fight. For them it was their little whatever page story of...
No, I'd had sort of like fights in school, street fights and stuff, but when you have to like prepare mentally and physically to go to war, and you know for a month, 2 months beforehand that this is happening, it's quite terrifying.
I suppose it's got to be a whole thing of knowing that you're stepping into a ring for someone to hurt you and you're going to hurt them, and it's that kind of, I'm agreeing to do this.
Yeah.
It's like a very strong mental state.
Yeah, because like conflict, like in a animalistic sense, is like fight or flight. So that's when it's put on you, whether you fight or you fly. You know, but to know that you're going into that like a month or two before, it's scary. And I just found it all consuming. Like I go to sleep thinking about it, wake up thinking about it, wake up in the middle of the night thinking about the other guy. Is he training harder than me? Is he running more than me? And that's how it happened. And then I did one, and then I was like, well, I can't just have one. Honestly, it was more like an ego thing. It was like I wanted to refer to my fight as my fights. I wanted to refer to it as a plural instead of just my fight. It's like just one. It just sounds weak. that was literally it. And then I think I've never closed the door on it. I might do it again one day just to test myself and get out of my comfort zone.
And Duncan, we were talking earlier, 3 months a year you spend in a rainforest.
Yes.
Please tell me as much as you can, or at least a little bit about that, because that is just incredibly interesting.
So, I spend 3 months every year in the Amazon rainforest. I go there with groups working with shamans and indigenous tribes and plant medicines. So, it's something I first did in 2013, and it helped me enormously in the way that I experienced life. And then as I continued to go back there and people started to come with me, I saw the difference that it had on people's health, mental well-being. And so it's something that I suppose is a little misunderstood here in the West, but I think if you go to the doctors and you get prescribed something, it has an active ingredient, 1% or 2%, and all of that comes from the rainforest or from the Congo Basin. And so and the thing as well here in the West, if you have anxiety or depression or mental health disorders, we tend not in the West to know how to treat them. You get given a pill, it may or may not work, and if you go to the rainforest with these medicine men and these shamans, then they tend to know what to give you and make you feel better, if that makes sense.
Is it ayahuasca?
It is something, yes, it is that.
DMT being
that's the thing that's in the, yes, it's in a plant called chacruna, which contains that.
Fascinated by that stuff. So
yeah.
I've fantasized about.
Okay.
About doing.
Oh, we'll talk. Yeah.
On that note, we are running a little bit of time. I shall pass this out. If you have any questions for our lovely gentleman, please raise your hand now and I will come on over to you. Any questions at all from the audience? I think that might be a no, but don't worry. The lovely gentlemen, I'm sure they are over in the corner. They are very lovely to talk to, and honestly, just about characters or themselves, endlessly interesting. They'll be heading over for their photo shoot in just a few moments' time. But until then, please put your hands together. The lovely